Everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and today we're talking about Bitterwort. This is another sort of Convallaria video, and you know what? They added some new lower rarity characters. And if you've been following my sort of Convallaria content for a while, you know that lower rarity units was kind of my specialty. It's kind of what I primarily covered in my early days because not a lot of people had legendary units, and so a lot of accounts are built off the back of these units. So I kind of wanted to go over and just kind of give you a unit breakdown of Bitterwort. There is another new one that I haven't pulled yet. Don't remember their name. It's like Draken or Draken or something. I'll get them as well, but for first we're just going to go over Bitterwort. So who is Bitterwort? What is Bitterwort? They are a healer, and they are a Night Crimson, which I think is kind of fun. There's only 3 Night Crimson, probably, there we go, Darken. We got Darken, the new Rawia, and then we got Iria. So they probably will fit into a Hangman team for the most part, as you could just tell visually, right? They look like a Hangman, basically. But they are a kind of a preemptive healer, kind of a cool method here. So what do? They apply Bitterwort at the start of combat, Bitterwort to all allies within 2 tiles at level 1. Basically, 1 star to 4 star are identical, just a little bit of magic attack, which is essentially not irrelevant, but it's like whatever. But then at 5 stars, it becomes way better. So Bitterwort to all allies within 2 tiles, and once you get up to 5 stars, it's all allies within 4 tiles. So this will basically hit everybody at the start of the fight, but at the beginning, it's going to be kind of a short range. But what is Bitterwort? So you're applying the namesake buff. If in a dying state after attack, you restore 40% of your HP, removed after the effect is triggered. So basically, this is a preemptive heal. You have this as a buff on your character. You get hit and you go into dying, so you have to go below the 30% mark or hit the 30% mark, and then you will heal 40% of your HP. And this is not like based on her magic attack, right? You're just gonna, if you go down to 30, you're gonna go up to 70%. So overall, this is a pretty nice little buff here. Now, there are plenty of downsides before we get too far into it. Just want to say it is a buff, means it could be dispelled. It doesn't say it can't be dispelled, so I assume that it can. And 40% is not an insane amount of healing, and if you're at 31% and they just kill you, this never goes off, right? So there are plenty of downsides to it. However, it is also like preemptive healing that you don't have to really put any effort into, so she could do other things, is really good. So her first ability here is actually Bitter Medicine. It is a 0 to 2 range, so it can target herself. But single target healing restores 40% of the target's HP. So again, this is just a pretty strong heal, not crazy, but means it's nice because it doesn't matter what her stats are or what the HP, right? If she has a magic stat of 1 and she's healing Coco, who has like however many thousands of HP, she could still do a good healing job, right? On the inverse, like it's bad if something has low HP because she can't top them off, but still overall. If they don't have Bitterwort, you give them Bitterwort. So she could easily apply Bitterwort every single turn to somebody. Overall, pretty reasonable skill. Still, you're not going to want to actually spend your action economy healing one person with one thing, but it's, as far as like a base skill, it's really not that bad for a gold unit. So Inner Light, you can kind of choose which one you want to go here. I kind of like the attack command myself. It's an aura, just increasing the attack of everybody, because you kind of just need her. Right now she's healing, but this will allow her to passively increase the attack of allied units. And again, because this is an aura, I believe it stacks with most other auras that do something slightly different. So like, especially if you don't have like a specific aura for your team, like I'm running a union team, Inner Light though, instant selects an ally target and then restores 1 energy to all allies within 3 tiles around the target. Character cannot be targeted. So you can't target yourself. But you basically just do an instant big energy regeneration. It looks like you can, it says you can't be targeted, but it does look like you could hit yourself. You just can't target yourself, right? So you got to target an ally. I don't love Inner Light. There's just a lot of better ways to get energy at this point, I feel like, but it's an instant ability. It is reasonable. Would it make it to the bar? Probably. I think it would probably make it to the bar, but I still like attack command more. Luxite Shrapnel, good ability, classic ability. We've seen it a lot. Good against things that aren't resistant to percent-based damage. The harder the content gets, the more immunities things get, the worse this gets. But if you're a low level and you're going up against a fight that doesn't have immunities, then it should this is a very, very, very good skill. What did I just open up? I just did something. Dismiss. Let me bring my stream back up. There we go. Stream, whatever. Police Lasso. Instant debuff. After attacking, inflicts restraint. So restraint is a control type. Reduces speed by 100 points and unable to move. Very cool. It says it has a 3 turn and then 3/0. It's kind of a weird wording of it, right? But instant after attacking, inflicts restraint. Attack 2 and no assist on the target, lasting for 2 turns. For targets with restraint, additionally, inflicts stunned, lasting for 2 turns. Available for 3 times. So basically, after you use this, it's kind of, the way it's worded is kind of weird, but it sounds like to me, after this activates, it has a 3-turn cooldown. So you can't use restraint and then the turn after attack an additional time to get it. It does look like you actually target them. So you do target them and you do like an attack or something and then you restrain them. But if you have a different character that has restraint, then you could basically combo this to be stunned. And you can only use this 3 times. However, still restraint is very powerful. As long as something isn't immune to control, this is going to be pretty good here, right? Reducing speed and not making sure they can't move, I think is very good. I think turning off the assist might be really good as well. Honestly, this is a pretty good move. Especially for, you know, an instant debuff. When you get to level 5, you get these reactions. I guess it kind of comes up to you want. I personally like damage reduction most of the time, but it kind of depends, right? When you're hit by an active attack, you take 8% less, and upon receiving an active attack, you inflict vulnerable. So this becomes a debuffer, but honestly, I don't think she's going to survive that many hits if she gets attacked. So typically, you just want to keep your character alive. Let's actually skip to 9 before we go up to rank 7, because these are kind of her best skills. As far as the auto attack, deals 80% magical damage and inflicts attack down 1 for 2 turns. Okay, that's fine. That's reasonable. And then Merciful Strike, increase the effect of your next healing skill by 15%. This is actually pretty nice. I wonder if this is additive where it brings your 40% up to 55%, because that's pretty good. Or if it's like multiplicative where it's like, I guess it would be like roughly 45%. 46, something like that. I think this is probably better, because I assume that this makes her Bitterworts stronger. So overall, I'm leaning towards Merciful Strike myself. And as far as rank 7, can't give up. Heals all allies within 3 tiles of the target for 60% of magic attack. So that's a good heal. I mean, it's a pretty reasonable heal. You grant them attack up 2, regeneration 2, and then it grants them all Bitterwort to the 2, oh, not all of them, but to the 2 allies with the lowest HP percentage in battle. So this doesn't even care if they're within 3 tiles. This is just 2 people are getting Bitterwort, whoever has the lowest amount. This is a great heal. The only bad thing about this heal is that it has such a long cooldown of 4 turns, but it does have 2 turns of regeneration too, which is what, 20%? Yeah. So overall, that's a pretty good heal. I like that one a lot. Now, quick bandaging. At the start of the turn, heals a random injured ally. So again, injured is not meant you're just missing HP, means you are below 70%, but you're above 30%. Within 3 tiles of yourself, healing for 30% of your magic attack, then dispels 3 debuffs. If the target doesn't have Bitterwort, grants them Bitterwort. So she has many, many ways to actually apply Bitterwort to a bunch of people. I do like this ability as a passive, because when your turn comes around, but it's just a little too narrow. They have to be injured. And then it heals a little bit. It's kind of a low heal, but it does dispel 3 debuffs, which is very good, but it's only 1 target. Overall, I don't love it. I think Can't Give Up is better overall between these two, but it's really going to depend on the fight. If you're going up against a fight where you're barely surviving and just keeping like, you know, you're only at like 5% life, this essentially does nothing. But if you're at a fight where they're slowly knocking you down, and that this actually, you really need a bunch of Bitterworts, this will do Bitterwort every single turn, right? On top of her being able to passively do it. So you'll be able to do multiple Bitterworts every turn. So overall, those are her abilities. That's kind of what I recommend going for here. I think going I just think the attack command is good, because you don't want someone, it's not good enough anymore to just be a healer. You need to be a healer that does something else, you know? So just giving someone a little bit of an attack boost with like 1 slot, and then for slot 2 and 3, I'd probably grab both quick bandaging and Can't Give Up. But you could also choose one of those and then keep the bitter medicine, because this is just a very consistent thing to keep doing. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I'm going to run her myself when I do. I mean, I might end up switching out of the attack thing because maybe I do just need a dedicated healer and maybe I want the energy. But I'm not super in love with the character, but on some maps, I actually think she is going to be pretty good. Now, I think she's pretty much outclassed by most of the characters in today's day and age, but actually still a very interesting character. And I do like this totally different take on healing where it's like you're putting a buff on someone that heals them. Now, as far as equipment goes, you're basically going to want something that just gives her, honestly, probably survivability the most. You don't really care about her stats that much. But still, when healing effects, dispelling things is really good. As far as like, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd probably just use the reorganized cube on her. I can't think of a reason why I'd really want to use something else. As far as equipment goes, I mean, I always kind of just go with whatever you have. Like whatever you have that's good. I like cooling powder, right? Gives you more passive healing on yourself, but also makes it so the healer can always be healed, because sometimes you get healing turned off, it just sucks. And you can't do anything. So that's probably more where I'm leaning on this character as well. Maybe you just get a random cure for spring. But as far as healers go, I've never found their gear to be super relevant. And tarots, I feel like, are a little self-explanatory as well, right? You have specifically, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the names. It's been a while since I played, but you have the one that specifically increases the amount you heal. I actually am always a fan of the devil one, but in some of these new fights, it has not been very good because just nothing's dying. More HP for survivability. And then, yeah, here we go. The High Priestess. So if the character is dying, the healing effect is further increased by 15%. Feels like it's perfect with her because she already wants to be healing people that are dying, because that's when Bitterwort goes off. So it should just increase healing effect by 45 effective percent, which sounds really good, on top of maybe having her auto attack. So it goes up to 60% bonus. So that could be just roughly doubling, you know, or maybe from 40% to 60% healing, or it depends. If it's additive, I don't really know how healing effect works with something like the Bitterwort buff, but that would be, if it's additive, that would be pretty good. But as you can see here, I haven't leveled her up yet. I'm still working on actually getting my account back up to snuff. Trying to do some of these harder late game fights, and it's a lot, man. There's a lot to do. I got a lot of leveling up and stuff to do, but overall, I think it's a really cool character to add to the game. I don't think a new player should heavily invest into Bitterwort. I just really don't think that she's doing anything better than Angel is. Angel is very good and is incredibly free. Just to compare really quick, like, you know, I don't want to shit on the character, but let's go by rarity, right? So let's come down here. And so Angel just has a passive AoE heal everyone, 60% every single turn, and dispels, and a big AoE. She has a passive way of increasing everyone's magic defense, and then when she heals, she also does a bunch. She just gives everyone 3 random buffs, right? So she's giving everyone tons of random buffs, keeping them completely topped off, and also giving them extra magic defense. Now, what Angel doesn't do is the only thing Bitterwort really has an advantage on, is Bitterwort has one access to percent-based damage, I guess, on the luck site, but also they have the AoE energy regeneration, and then they have the ability to heal when it's not their turn, basically. Because they have the Bitterwort on a character, as long as it doesn't get dispelled, then if they're dying in between turns from taking too much damage, they'll get a heal when it's no one's turns up. But if unless you're getting killed in one round, that's usually not a problem. Angel can usually just handle that because Angel is really actually that good. But that is all for today, guys. Wanted to do a video, kind of get my feet wet back into the content creation space for this game. I am currently, if you're still here, I'm currently trying to do a little bit of this event. I really want to place in the top 100 on this rank list here. However, I might need a little bit of assistance. When I say assistance, I mean just practice, you know, in that sense. It's been a long time since I've really played. So I am going to try to break into the top 100, get on difficulty here, and just kind of figure out exactly this combat, because it was kind of a tough combat. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye! On the rise, watch the views go up.